What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 55 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Thorgrim Grudgebearer Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, another great grudge has been struck from the book as the last of the Chaos Dwarfs have been destroyed. Indeed, the Dowies are no more, and the only Dowie that still exist are those that follow the ancestor gods. Now, we've got four of the legendary grudges remaining, and also last time we had that amazing battle with Mr. Warvor Drakebeard here, who got himself an actual name rather than a reclaimer moniker. So great job to him. I'm very proud of this army and it's what it did there. Do we need Thunderer in your army? I guess not. Anyway, we'll deal with you later. Anyway, in terms of what we got to do this time, I think we're pretty much at the end turn, or if we aren't, I'm too lazy to check over the list again. So yeah, we're going to end the turn. I believe there were at least a couple of places where we were besieging and where we are likely to fight, namely at the very least Doom Mountain, which we have been trying to approach for a long time. The Southern World's Edge, and the last place, a hold long lost, I believe, before the War of the Beard, in fact. Yeah, should be pretty interesting. Let's see how we fare against all those Ushabtian bone giants and stuff with Dwinpar Ranulfson's army. It's not the kind of they will outrange us significantly, so yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Skip hero outpost and turn. Alright, this one was not one that I was expecting. Reclaimer Get Cold here has been attacked by Capitano Sissoko, who has a pretty darn elite Vampire Coast army. We may not ever get the opportunity to fight the Vampire Coast again, and considering the relative elite nature of this one, I think that we should probably fight it. They've got a Necrofex Colossus and a Rotting Leviathan, a couple of Rotting Promethean Gunnery mobs, a couple of Morn Ghouls. It's pretty solid, and more importantly than that, we are in full speed / march stance, so our army is significantly weakened and we have no engineer here, so we are rather short ranged as well in terms of the flame cannons and everything else. So yeah, this should be a toughie. Alright, let's put the Ranger standard. I'm gonna send the Thane because he's gonna probably need to reposition himself. Go. Alright, here we go. It may be a Reclaimer army, but, I think fighting an elite enemy of Vampire Coast under Capitano Sissoko is too good to pass up. Both elite in terms of unit quality, and deck gunners, Necrofex, Rotting Leviathan, Morn Ghouls, etc., and elite in the form of high veterancy. In fact, higher veterancy than our own army. And on top of that, we are going to have to move closer to them as we don't have long-range artillery and only the flame cannons. Enemy will fire at us this entire time. I think it was a Gaze of Nagash that hits Snorri, but barely does any damage. Surprisingly, considering he only has 40 spell resistance. Go figure. Oh, the Thanes have ballistic plating. I didn't realize that. Interesting. Makes sense. Oh, he probably has the trait that gives you ballistic plating, right? I think it's a trait. Anyway, here come the enemy. We're going to start focusing down specifically the deck gunners, which have been firing away at us, and our flame cannons should make short work of them, as deck gunners might be the most fragile unit in the game. I want to say that they are the most fragile unit in the game. They're just incredibly fragile. Like, you sneeze on them and they explode. And not in a good way. Anyway, looks like the enemy is charging towards us, including with some Sirens. They do take a volley of blasting charges from our Iron Breakers, but we'll smash into the Iron Breakers nonetheless and start debuffing them with that Charm Taunt. We'll also reduce the Iron Breakers' melee defense to some degree, but they still have 95, and just really don't care about that. Some of the enemy main line moving towards us is a distraction, however, as Morn Ghouls start closing the distance and smashing into the Iron iron drakes from the flanks. Interesting that they chose to go after the iron flanks rather than the iron drakes and thunderers behind them, and it is allowing the thunderers to continue to gun down those monstrous units as they're able to fire over the rest of the Dowie's heads. The enemy lord is nearly done for and will melt away under fire. Our flame cannons and flame throwers bring down the rotting Leviathan before it closes the distance as well, and it looks like the Mourngulls have been defeated and gunned down by the Thunderers. The Necrofex Colossus continues to fire away at us, but otherwise the torpedoes are taking care of the monsters in combination with the Thunderers, while the Iron Breakers hold them back just fine. Alright, so I absolutely love the Mourngulls models and animations, so it's always sad to see them go, but you gotta. Frankly, I love the Krabby Boys as well. And the Depth Guard. You know, I guess I just kind of like vampires. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thunk it? Nobody never said such a thing before. Anyway, the Necrofex Colossus is the only thing that remains on the battlefield now, wading through those flames to try to get a few more of those shots away at us. And you gotta love the allure of these guys. Part of the ship, part of the crew. They're an amalgam of flesh and ship working together, built around a vampire or necrofex that forms the thing's heart, which essentially it's not a chaos creature, but it's actually similar in what it is. I've said this before, to a Chaos Titan from 40k, with all of it being, you know, flesh and stuff melded together into one. It's pretty neat. Anyway, close victory, and the Necrofex Colossus goes down, and the battle is ours. Alright, I gotta say, that actually went better than I thought it was gonna go, again, considering the nature of the enemy army, but the small map kind of worked in our favor, as we only had to advance a tiny bit before we were able to open fire upon the enemy, whereas if it was a sort of bigger, longer walk than the enemy artillery, both the Carronades and the Necrofex would have had the ability to do a lot more damage. Nice charge from those Mourngulls, however. One of them did heavy damage to one of our units of Iron Breakers on the left flank, and then the other one did heavy damage to our units of Iron Drakes on the right flank. So they were by far the most devastating units, and we can see they got vastly more kills than anything except the Carronades, and the Carronades got killed pretty quickly by the Flame Cannons. Nice fight. And defeated Deathmaster Snitch, present in regions, building, construction, etc., etc., creator, wailing banner, stonemason, executioner, Zack, stonemason, guildmaster, ally loses output. Oh, wow, looks like we arrived too late. And just as we got to this shore, just as we got to the southern World's Edge Mountains, the cult of Sigmar was wiped out. This, in some ways, might actually work in our favor, and why I didn't care as much about this happening is because it will enable us to trade these deserts, to the Cathayans here, who seem to be perfectly happy living in the desert, and, well, that'll enable us to take the mountains from them instead. Minus, I guess, the Gate of the Stars, which is a bit of an annoyance because it's their capital region, but nonetheless, we'll be able to hold the mountains, and I like that a lot more. Clan Ricket destroyed as well, and is that the second last of the enemy Skaven factions on the map? Just out of curiosity. Wyvern Cliffs somewhere else got a, let me just see here, Plague Diplomacy. Skaven, I just want to see what we've got left of the rats. Slaanesh, Skaven, we got Clan Eshin, 3 settlements, Clan Claw, I don't know where they are. Oh, they're near the Mortis Tarn. Okay, yeah, I know where they are. And what was the other one? Clan Scab. Allied with Eshin. Oh, I know where you are as well. All right, we got 3 Eshin factions, or Skaven factions remaining, and they're all on the way out. Stuchel Gundrickson, I would like you to move towards High Queen Khalida. Get those axes sharp and ready. You, Reclaimer Gundrickson, are going to actually move further southward and deeper into Khalida's empire, as she's got all of this shored up, which is pretty darn solid, you gotta admit. Reclaimer Granite Hand, you're kind of in an awkward position because, well, you you would like to take the House of Everlasting Life, you probably wouldn't be able to handle a bunch of... I mean, look at this army. I wouldn't be able to handle a bunch of enemy armies. So I'm gonna say back off into the Obelisk of Usekf. Decent likelihood that Khalida declares war on them shortly as well. Do we have the ability to upgrade you guys to Longbeards yet? Yes, we do. Alright, we're gonna need it in case we fight. Let's do 5... Wait. Warriors can also be upgraded to artillery. You know what? Maybe stay as warriors for now. We might actually use you as range units. We could always upgrade the miners to more warriors if it should come down to it. Frankly, we shouldn't be using a Demon Slayer to command this type of army, but again, the Demon Slayers have Siege Attacker, which is what makes it more worth our time. He is Defiant, though, so if we wanted to combine, we could easily upgrade anybody here into Slayer Pirates and get a few of the Goblin Heroes up and running, and bam! Suddenly we've got a Defiant army, which I don't dislike. Maybe I shouldn't have put you into March stance. You know what? We're gonna level Stochel Gundrickson. This is... we're kind of in a dangerous position. You only need Fire and Fury, Grimnir's Heirs, and Tactician. Fire and Fury, Grimnir's Heirs, and Tactician, which you have. You don't need Blessed by Grugne. And then what do we need? You can get Stubborn Defiance to get your own personal fightiness. You probably actually do want the... Okay, Army of One Slayer of Many for the enemy ward save reduction. Pretty useful. Blade Shield, yes. Scarred Vet, yes. Woundmaker, yes. Deadly Onslaught, yeah. Oh. Funnily enough, against all these Tomb Kings, the reinforcement... Lightning Strike might have been useful, but it's too late, or at the very least I'm too lazy to start redoing the points, so we're not gonna. Let's get you Devastating Charge to make you hit and fight harder. Let's get you Relentless and you're maxed out. What about your Minion Lords, or Heroes rather? Vanquish Chaos is probably not going to be worthwhile too yet. We will get worthwhile... yeah, We Are the Elite should be useful, is what I'm getting at. Deadly Blade, obviously. Foe Seeker, obviously Blade Shield, and I'm gonna say Scarred Vet. And these guys don't have a lot of armor, but, well, 122 melee defense. Beautiful. Anyway, we probably will need replenished troops on you, so we will get you that. And we'll still get you Resolute. Ancestral Grudge isn't as useful. I'm gonna say let's get Stubborn Defiance for the additional resistances. And start going through Woundmaker. You still have a fair few points to apply because the Dragon Slayers are not hungry for points, like so many of the others are. We Are the Elite, Deadly Blade, I think I can remember what I did with you. Ancestral Grudge ignored, Resolute, Foe Seeker, we have Scarred Vet, Blade Shield, Deadly Onslaught, and then that 1 point in Windmaker. Beautiful. Decent likelihood you get attack next turn, so we gotta prepare. What about the Runesmith? Okay, now you guys are very point hungry. What we do want to do is to be able to get the Rune of Negation overcasting. Well, frankly, every rune should be overcastable, so let's do that. Then we'll go Scarred Vet into full plate armor. We Are the Elite for the little bit of extra armor, though funnily enough, you didn't harden armor, which I guess these guys could have used, but all good. Let's get Rune of Sanctuary for obvious reasons. Spellbreaking, Fate, and Old-Fashioned Tinkering, which we always do, and then Rune of Valea we may or may not get, because I don't really care about it. Rune of Grimnir for obvious reasons, and frankly the ability to cast better runes and overcast them and have the cooldown lowered is probably more valuable than the Relentless traits, so a Rune of Oath and Steel and Rune of Wrath and Ruin. And there we go, and you still have some points remaining. Engineer, we have 3 types of artillery in this army, which is cannons, which is bolt throwers, and which is organ guns. All meant to go after the big boys. We Are the Elite, obviously. We might as well get you Overseer, bump up your own personal damage. We could probably increase mobility, but let's get the the missile resistance first, because, let's face it, these guys are going to be absolute targets for the Ushabti with Great Bow. And lastly, I'm going to say start going through Relentless to get a little bit of extra speed. It's not like you have aerial units to keep up with. Though, funnily enough, the gyrocopters with brimstone guns would have actually worked nicely in this composition, because they're also anti-large. But anyway, let's see. Well, Manny. I guess he saw that, oh, this is pathetic, Manny. What is this? You should have kept on running. Here's a question. Cetra, are you trying to move? Wait, yeah, you are at war with these guys. Now that's a question. We would like Cetra to move down here and take this territory, but as to how we can get him to do it, well, do we bother? Do we just give this territory to the Guardians of the Valley here? Maybe we'll do that. All right, I will think about it. Let's get everybody else moving first, and then we'll see. Now, Reclaimer Thrund Bugman, you will move down here. You're just a Reclaimer, but I'm willing to bet that this Guardian of the Tarn settlement is full of rats. Grothbark, you cannot reach it. What about Muster of the Throng? Muster of the Throng can. All right, let's have you find out. If it's empty, then at least Muster of the Throng can just immediately colonize it. Gotta find out other... I'm pretty sure that this is full of rats, like 90% sure. It's gotta be, because there were rats here, and... Moment of truth, yes, Clan Claw. Alrighty, and what do they have here? Nothing. Huh, were they already dead? You were fighting the dragon. Oh, wow. Yeah, once again, this is what was keeping Manfred down. He was fighting the rats. He was fighting these guys to the south. He was fighting Khemri, and he was fighting Kugath. So, one of the rare times I think I've seen Manny do very poorly. Usually he does reasonably well, so it's too bad for him. Muster the Throng, you're going to take Guardian of the Tarn in a second, and that'll wipe out the first of the 3 remaining rat clans. I guess I didn't need to move Reclaimer down here. But I guess we could send him here while we send the other guy there. Or down here. Oh, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Not to worry. Nobody panic. Declare war. Call your allies to help. Not really. Why would we need help with this? Goodbye. I probably should have checked whether the auto-resolve killed off anything, but nope, it just damaged some stuff, which is fine. Occupy. Alright, beautiful. Clan Claw destroyed, just like that. Easy enough. And Upper River Mortis is ours, but not for long. We're going to trade this to, I don't know, one of the Tomb King factions. It doesn't really matter which. Just so that we don't have to hold on to this unnecessary desert territory. And plus, I mean, look at the Tomb King-y buildings, surrounded by warpstone. Do Dowie really want to live there? Maybe some slayers to make themselves suffer, but otherwise, not really anybody. Alrighty, so there was an army out here that I no longer see. Oh, these guys are moving down to Skithin's Oasis, but I mean, I guess you're just gonna go there. I wonder if the army went there. Ah, there it is. You go chase this down. Oh, it's Kugath himself. If only he had a proper army. It's just Nurglings. I mean, I know it's Kugath, but we've already defeated Kugath in proper fights, and I'm not willing to waste time on Nurglings at this point. Alrighty, and I'm willing to bet that if you go after Kugath here, you won't immediately be able to reach Skithin's Oasis, but these guys might be able to reach it, so it's all good. Alright, let's go here. And wait a second, I just had an idea. Are you... Yes, Skaggle Frowner, do this. I want the Kugath defeat trait, which is why I decided to do this. Oh, like so. Nobody will die, nobody will die. Goodbye, Kugath. We really messed up his plans, didn't we? He was doing so well. One of the best sort of performing factions on the map, I think. Anyway, you can start healing, and you can start healing in case these guys don't manage to take Skithin's Oasis. And we'll be good. We just need to de-chaosify this place before we trade it, or else Kugath will just come back after all that. Anyway, Thorgrim, I'm going to keep you there. We will probably fight Manfred, because this might be the only fight that we ever get out of him, considering how weak his faction is. Now, what I want you to do is to occupy Bogler country right here, rather than go wherever. And we can see if we could trade these disgusting swamplands to you. Mr. Joseph of Zorn, however, will sail out. Well, if it isn't Mulligany, we have a pretty terrible garrison. What about here, though? This is a tier 4 with some stuff. I don't really care about these territories, but they are wasteland, and they've got petroleum, which I'm sure we could use A and B. We really don't need them to, you know, be alive anymore. The Chaos Dwarfs. Now, there is a thing that we want to do, or several things that we want to do down here. Ulfar Norgrimling, you will also head southward, because we might need you to help with Khalida. Plus, I still haven't gotten enough of those explosions. It's too entertaining. Oh, right, you don't want to suffer attrition, so try to do this. Alright, go here. We then will want Jamek Doomtamer. I feel like we could park one of these guys at the... Yeah, you know what? Let's move Jamek southward as well. Park one of them down in the petroleum territory. Just so that they essentially guard it, because the demons are coming out of here, and the other important thing that I wanted to do was this. Give Magpie Town to these guys. And then, 304, have them join war, most importantly against the All-Seeing Eye, which is these guys, right? Yes, I just want them to be in, you know, stuck in an endless war against the demons. That's all I want. And then I guess, you know what, you can probably join war against other factions. Let's see what, pretty good. There we go. Force the undead into an endless war against chaos. The plan has been coming together for a while, and it looks like it'll come together nicely. We'll do that. Would you be willing to give us back a minor settlement like Direbogs? Okay, not Direbogs. How about Fort Death Toll? No. How about Pig Jousting Grounds? Yes. Which is here. If you're wondering why I'm doing that, it's just for the relationship between us to rise a little bit, because it's considered a gift. And the reason I wanted that is so that these guys don't start fighting each other like idiots. Granted, we're not in an alliance with Helman Gorst, we just have a non-aggression pact, so if our allies actually attack him, we wouldn't join. Well, actually we would because of the military alliances, but anyway, if he attacks, well, either way, we wouldn't be breaking any alliances with him because we have no alliances with him, or at least no real alliances. Anyway, you can just have the Pig Jousting Grounds back. We have you declared war on everybody, you can have the rest of this territory, which we do not care about. I guess we could keep this for future war declarations, but frankly, we've pretty much declared war on everybody that needs to be, you know, war declared on, so you can have Spice Market. And this will, you know, reduce the administration, and then take back Magpie Town. No, take back Scraggleguts Hold, like so. There we go, and then you can have Scraggleguts Hold, and Boulder Bellies Hold, and lastly, Flayed Rock. There we go. No more territory down here, and we can no longer trade settlements too. Yeah, goodbye. We were never intending to hold anything south of the river. A ruin, north of the river ruin, it's all ogres. South of the river ruin, it's all undead. And those two sort of neutral factions will be the things holding back the tide of chaos while the dwarfs just get richer. Lovely. We also need to hit you to wipe out these orcs for good, so let's send you all down here. And once you're there, and once they're wiped out, you guys will become coast guards set up on the coastline here in case anybody comes along. Maybe we'll send one of you down to the... send one of them down to the... There we go. Send one of them down to the petroleum oil rigs. That's the one. I guess it's oil platforms, not oil rigs, technically speaking. But anyway, you, kill. Do we actually care if anything blows up? Not really. It's not worth fighting. Yeah, I mean, it's fun enough seeing a ludicrously gigantic air force, but we've seen pretty big air forces with our two armies that use them to a pretty great degree, and it's no real difference. Especially against the faction that stands no chance. Anyway, depleted mine. Where's it? I guess we could upgrade it for a turn. And once these guys move out, we'll trade it to the ogres. They can enjoy it. Some degree, because they can't have it at tier 5, so it is what it is, it's their problem. Anyway, you guys, newly minted coast guards. Lovely. Alright, so you guys are all good where you are. Getting ready to fight Queen Khalida, who, unfortunately, we do have to. A, because she wiped out the Cult of Sigmar. B, because it's apparently part of our, Karak Zorn's Scorn, which is quite interesting. I guess that the manor... This is basically all factions that are surrounding Karak Zorn, and I think that, yeah, and basically it's not clear how Karak Zorn fell, as in how contact was lost. It could have been undead that destroyed it, could have been lizards that destroyed it, etc., etc., so it's just sort of kill everybody around it, just because somebody clearly destroyed it, so, yeah, alright. You, Reclaimer Bark, are gonna head down to Ashmere. And these guys don't have Hatmas. He must have a heck of a hat. That's a decent hat. Anyway, yeah, you're gonna stay down here. I'm surprised that the Doom Mountain enemies didn't sally out and go for us. Huh. I mean, could just straight up attack them. It's actually not that great of an idea for this particular army, just in the sense that... It's gonna be hard to get the Goblin Heroes into position, but anyway, we'll think about it. Let's see what else we have this turn before we jump on that. Here, Grundadrag, you're a Slayer. I'd like you to stay in the Swamp of Terror. And for now, we're not... Wow, what the heck is Xandri doing out here? Again, I would have loved to have traded these places, and we might later just abandon them and then give them to... probably... Let's also set up a ranger outpost here. Give them to Khemri, maybe? I don't actually know whether these guys can occupy swamplands. It's an interesting question. The humans definitely can, so we could give it to the archaeological expedition and not bother with it, because it's red territory. Or we could just keep it fortified and keep it as another sort of Slayer Pirates hideout, like some of these places. Our Slayer Pirates still need a place to be, I guess, but anyway, for now. Bernath Barak, you're gonna head to Ciernos. Oh, these guys took Pina Wood. Good for them. And I'll resume. The cannon, okay. I see how it is, game. I'm really tempted to just delete those cannons because every time the auto-resolve seems to try to kill them all off. What do we have left here at Mount Zardel? Nothing. At least this one won't kill the cannons because there are 4 of them. Maybe it's a matter of critical mass of unit numbers. If you don't have enough, that's what happens. Also, are you at war with... You're at war with some jerks. You know, just leave Mount Zardella and... Oh, well, you'd still be in allied territory, so I don't really care about that. Alright, let's do this. You can immediately have it. And then you can join war against whatever factions you're able to join the war against. Like so. Like so. 1.3, and one more. All-seeing eye. 6.1, maybe one more. Sightless. 9.4, good enough. I just wanted to get it high enough so we can give them money without, you know, doing it the other way. There we go, it's just a little bit faster. Anyway, you can heal here, and then move out here, possibly, though these guys are in pretty bad shape now. Story Azrael, who has at last received his quarrelers with the Grudge Settler quarrelers. He waited until basically the end of the campaign, until one of the delivery armies got to him. But at least he got him by the end. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to get one fight going for you. There is a tier 5 garrison at Bilbali, and I don't think these guys have fought a strong Dark Elven force before, so certainly a possibility. Anyway, build some stuff up here, and you're good. Morgus Drenger, I would like you to land at Alquazaro. And we will still want to wipe out Schmidt's Renegades, because I don't like the fact that they exist, and declare war. Got rallies to help? No. I wish it was disabled by default, because I feel like I call allies to help less than... I mean, I pretty much never call allies to help, because it's just never worth it. It's never worth it. It's always a risk that one of them will break their agreement, and it's just... No, thank you. I wish that there was a threshold at which point... me and my threshold. At this... Hey, what the heck? Hello? Oh, what the... Okay, game was being buggy. Wouldn't let me upgrade the building. What was I saying? I wish there was a threshold after which an alliance, like if you have 300 relationship plus, you would never have an ally break an alliance to attack or defend somebody. You know what I mean? Something like that, because while it is to some degree silly, it is also really quite an annoying aspect of the game when it doesn't let you. Anyway, increase. Do you have a... You do not have a... Alright, 1 second. 1 second. Since this actually has to be a proper army now, you can have the Old Guard's tankard, you can have the Gatekeeper's helm, you can have the Gatekeeper's hammer, and you can have the Prospector's spyglass. Beautiful. Alright, that's a maxed out engineer, and you have another Trickster shard, you have an axe of 8 peaks, and an armor of destiny. You are venerating Grimnir, not Smednir, so the Axe of 8 Peaks works, but the other Trickster Shard is useless on ya, and you will instead want a Iron Warden's tankard. Like so. Lovely. And you don't have a Runesmith, which... Oh, you know what? First of all, I would actually like you to trade this and this. I guess you don't need that. Alrighty, and... You could be turned into a cannon, right? You can. You cannon. Who was going to lose a cannon for auto-resolving? Was it you, Bernath Barak? We could lose the cannon, or combine these two into one cannon and trade you this cannon. Yes, it's got a low... Maybe we'll do that. Are you able to reinforce now? Okay, I'll think about it. Let's keep moving everybody else around, and then I will decide, or do it between the episodes instead, depending. Let's see. Kazran Grimbrow, you... I wonder if we can reach San Pedro de Sur from here. Possible. Would you be able to tunnel towards it? By the looks of it, no. Alright, so Brock Ironpick, I would like you to besiege San Pedro de Sur. And, oh, it's a full stack. What do we have at the actual settlement? Huh, actually not a bad setup they've got here. Maybe that's another worthy fight for the minor army. I don't dislike the idea. Anyway, you... Alright, I was gonna do this. Since this is our army most blessed by Grugny, you are going to lose the armor, and you are going to instead use the Great Helm of Grugny, or the something Helm of Grugny. There's a helm, the ever-burning Helmet of Grugny, and, on top of that, your Runesmith is going to lose the other Trickster Shard. And I've been thinking about which army to put this in. We'll use the Scepter of Stone, because it... I mean, we're essentially collapsing the, collapsing a piece of the underway on the enemy, or, you know, collapsing the ground below them. It makes sense for the minor army to have it. Been really enjoying this whole concept. We're still one minor, or one engineer, or one something, or one runesmith or something short here, but it's all good. Also, how's your leveling, by the way? 15 points. Okay, well, I assume that you have everything that's needed here. Yeah, you do. I think out of all the armies, this is also another good, you know, Miner's Instinct, obviously. Purebeard, Ironwield, and I think Lightning Strike makes a lot of sense for this particular army, because, you know, it's a minor army, and they're going to dig their way to a better position. Deadly Onslaught, and we have 2 points remaining. And I guess the only real choice we have is Woundmaker. I like so. Alright, we might as well level these guys because, well, it will be a fight. Unfaltering, as usual. We can max out... Actually, I don't really care about maxing out here. Relentless, yes. Oh, I probably should have gone for some of these instead of Relentless, but anyway, let's do this, let's do that. Indomitable, and then move through Woundmaker. Probably could have gone through Deadly Blade instead, because Thanes have a relatively low melee attack. And I do mean relatively, because they have 80, but anyway. Let's do this. Unfaltering, Deadly Blade, Deadly Blade, Foe Seeker. You know, I'll just smack these out. And then Scarred Vet, into Blade Shield, into Indomitable, and then I forgot Relentless, but they'll probably max themselves out more or less anyway. You, lastly, I do want you to max out Rune of Oath and Steel Speed, Rune of Slowness, and then Negation, because we use those a fair bit. And then I would like you to go through Master Rune of Spite, Scarred Vet, Full Plate Armor, Rune Sanctuary, 1, 2, 3. And we have 2 points remaining. We can pop 1 and 2. I'm gonna still say Rune of Grimnir. Missile resistance and the... It's not even so much the missile resistance as it is the additional mass for the heroes, because we have no mounts, and heroes getting bowled over by things charging them is really quite the annoyance. Anyway, Mr. Bellacore. Hegenbor Ironpick has arrived. He cannot reach you, but perhaps you can reach him. Now let's start moving towards Bolahat, and Beast Peaks will be probably the... Oh, it's part of Nagranath. It's part of this province? I was gonna say, we should keep Beast Peaks like a mountain or right in the middle of Albion and ignore everything else, but then... We'd have to hold on to these if we want the full province. I'll think about it. I'm not sure I care enough. Anyway, you guys are in a good position. Bugman, you're going to the same place. Can you land in this territory? No, not yet. Maybe we should land up here. No, I wanted him to land somewhere where it can heal for a turn before moving. So yeah, fine. Go this way. Grab this mysterious island on the way while you're at it. And then you, follower Skullson, who will never reach his destination, can follow along as well. He is a follower, after all. Alright, come on, Bugman. Hurry. There we go. And Power of Rage. Thank you, Mathland's Blessing. Well, we did travel through the sea. Kind of makes sense. And you. Alright, you're good. And just keep on traveling. Next, a Reclaimer Helldever. I would like you to grab Brugnir. And it looks like they ran from Ungrim Iron Fist, which admittedly does make sense. Again, not even a full single stack, and yeah, we don't have one either, but I think we've seen the value of the hammerers before. Let's see, blah 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 blah. Reclaimer Gundrickson, can you travel further like this? It's about the same, to be honest. Ungrim, can you chase any of these guys down? Sharkia, no, and no. Alright, so what I would like you to do is go right beside this place, and we'll see if they run. Or, potentially, they might try to get the garrison plus all of these armies to attack you at the same time, which would be better. Alright, you can be upgraded. We can start building, actually not defenses here, military structures. These are all going to be traded to the Wood Elves to hold. You can sink this Black Ark. Can't be having these guys around everywhere. And we need to get the Chenhild's monoliths because it's part of our thing. You know the thing? You know. Alright, anyway, Reclaimer Get Gold, the legendary grudge. Reclaimer Get Gold, go. You've already had your fight this episode. No Reclaimer though you may be. So you should be pretty happy about it. Alright, thank you. And then move on to Chenhild's. I assume, well, maybe you could land, but you probably don't want to. Oh, huh. You're actually quite damaged now. Oh, there's another Black Ark that we're gonna have to sink. Ugh, I wonder how many Black Arks these guys have floating around that we can't even see. Anyway, are either of you able to reach Troll Fjord from here? Unfortunately not. Alright, so Troll Fjord and... Okay, so Oseberg has decent defenses, so what we'll want to do is attack with... you have Siege Attacker. They're guaranteed. You're both Reclaimers, so I don't really care. And Close Victory Low. Goodbye. Like so. Guildmaster, and then I guess Reclaimer Hammerfist is going to jump right up here in our own territory so we heal just a little bit more and hit Troll Fjord. Oseberg just upgraded, but keep whatever is in there just because. Oh, that's a tier 4 trade good, which is nice. Tier 4 trade goods are really rare in the sense that most settlements with trade goods have them only at tier... only go up to tier 3 because they're, you know, minor settlements, but anyway. Surprisingly rare, I should say. You'd think there would be more capitals where there are some decent goods, but apparently not. Anyway, let's see. You guys are putting yourselves into position. So Reclaimer Helldower, you can... And what does Reclaimer Guthrie hold fast again? Alright, so I would like you to move down here beside Eomain Tarn. And I would like you to become Woodguard Holdfast. Never to move again until we attack Durthu. Reclaimer Helldower, you're in the same position. Woodguard Helldower. There we go, next turn. Neither one of you will be needed to move. You, Troop Fairy Blackbeard, are still recruiting, and okay, you guys are both still recruiting, you're fine. Woodguard Ulick, you're fine. Unless we want to move you up here somewhere, because Wood Elves might jump over there, but we'll see, whatever. It's all good. Alright, who needs to move up here? These guys are all good. Jargard Berdrick. Actually, I'd like to move you just up here, just in case. I know he's a Jargard, but just in case. And then you Grimly, and then you Elmador. You're both actual armies, not guards of some kind, so you can start moving up here towards maybe Zhenbai-Jin, or maybe towards the Steppes of Khorne. I see, while Tamarkhan hasn't revived, he's holding the Twisted Pillars. Which, you know, fair enough. Let's see, Reclaimer Grimson. You can hit Lokai Palace, which sounds pretty Tzeentchen. Gonna be pretty not Tzeentchen in a few seconds, though.
Who are you? The Eye King.
Out of resolve. I do wonder where Archaon is. We haven't seen him in a fair few turns since we knocked him down, you know, another 6 pegs, but, well, just keep going, I guess, until you find him. We need another army this way, so I think you can go up this way. There you go, Reclaimer Whitebeard. Alaric Ranulfson, you can go for Monolith of whatever this place is. Thorek, you can hit Fetid Gorge.
Make them pay.
And keep looking for Archie.
No.
Out of resolve. Occupy... Oh, that poor... Wait, was it a Runesmith rather than a Thane that got hurt? Or was it the Thane that got hurt? No, it was the Thane. Okay, the Thane is apparently by himself and will charge the enemy army by himself while we... while everybody else in the army watches. That's what the game is telling us. And in this one, all the other Longbeards will charge the enemy, but these Longbeards will be like, you know what? No, let the young'uns do it. Dwarf Keep, whatever. Fetid Gorge, we can upgrade you. Not that it matters over much, since it'll all be traded. We're mostly just looking to dechaosify everything here. Also, just out of curiosity, do you have a Tattooist and a Choir Master? It'll speed up the dechaosification. You do. And then does Alaric?
Let us begin.
Yep, alright, so he's good. Dechaosified a little bit faster. -18, not as good as I'd like, but you know. It's all good. And obviously don't collect the income here and then start building it to be traded. Venerate the Ancestors is up everywhere. And then this territory we're giving to Boris because he's going to be able to hold it much, much better, much easier, and with greater success than the Cathians. Because, I mean, look at this. Provinces with low control, 8. So their entire empire is in a constant state of shambles and rebellion, which I guess, I don't know, Jiao Meng may be a little bit too distracted getting high than in order to properly administer his realms. Yeah. Anyway, a Reclaimer Berdrick. I wonder if Sharkia is going to move out and go for Brognir, but I don't think she could take it either way. So Reclaimer, you can move this way. Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't like you. I don't like the idea of you getting attacked by yourself because the other armies are moving together. So yeah, you just stay here. You guys all move together, basically. We have 2 followers for 2 non-followers. It makes sense. And then the other Reclaimers. A Reclaimer Stronghold, quickly, easily take Crooktail Peak. And auto-resolve it, like so. You can actually buff up this army by evolving some of the troops. They've had plenty of experience by the looks of it. And then follower, you know what, if you get intercepted, you get intercepted, I don't care, go here. Nope, you're fine. Alright, Hellspire Tribe destroyed, there we go. Then Old as Hellhine, at last, I would like you to move right beside Village the Curseling, and next turn to attack him. And, oh, would you be able to attack him immediately? No, just out of range. Alright, fine. So what I would like you to do then, is go right here in camp stance, right beside Grayling Moot, or actually into Grayling Moot, would even be better. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. What do you guys have in terms of XP? Do we need to apply your XP? You're good. What about you? Okay, you know what, we'll probably need to level them because Village is one of the last foes up here. But what we can now do is trade Grayling Moot back to these guys. Or if we want to keep you here, yeah, you know what, keep them there for 1 term just to keep it safe. Yeah, maybe that's a better way to do it. Should we give Village the opportunity to attack us with all that he's got here? Maybe. He might also try to run. I'll give him a chance. So we'll declare war on him. What do we have here other than the gyro bombers? Nothing. So really, adamant plating is the only thing you need. We are the elite, and let's get hand loaded. Relentless. And I guess we'll just do Apprentice, Marksman, and Emergency Stockpiles. I don't really care about the other stuff in here. I guess we could do Resolute. Not like these guys ever actually charge while in a frickin' gyrocopter, but you never know. Hand-loaded, you have Adamant Plating, Apprentice, Marksman, Emergency Stockpiles, Relentless, and Resolute. Okay, apparently not Resolute. Alright, Unfaltering to buff the Lord, Deadly Blade to buff up your actual melee capabilities, Scarred Vet and Woundmaker to buff up your also melee capabilities, and then 1 point in Relentless, nearly out of points. You, same sort of situation. You can go for Deadly Blade, you can go for Scarred Vet and Woundmaker, and Indomitable. Lovely. And you all have Rune of Grimnir. The Runesmiths. Alright, so you have the important, well, most of the important stuff, including Retinue Physician. I'd like you to go for Scarred Vet. I've got full plate armor, but maybe Rune of Resistance is actually the better pick here. Just a little bit of extra fire resistance over 3 armor. It's just that, I don't know, the 3 armor is basically universally useful, but, you know, honestly, it's such a minor amount in either way that it matters not. Negation and Steel and Wrath and Ruin want to be maxed out. And you're going to be the same, but not quite as far, because you don't have as many points. Let's do that. Then we can do Rune of Hearth and Home, double in Negation, double in Breaking, 1 and 2 Strike the Runes, and then get the 2nd level of all of these and start moving through Rune of Spite. Like so, Scarred Vet, and into nothing else. Alright, beautiful. You're ready. We'll give Village a chance. Declare war. Watch him teleport southward. It's a possibility as well. Don't call your allies to help. We don't really need anything from Oshiotlus, so we'll see how Village handles this. I wouldn't be surprised if he attempts to go for Reclaimer Grimtidson, but, well, you can sit in Grayling Moot, and, well, good luck to the enemy, because we'll have bonuses there. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. And Hellspire Camp, we might actually keep these territories, so just, act like we're keeping them, even if we don't, we'll see. Alright, I think that's everybody up here. You guys have moved? Alright, let's do a fight. And specifically, minor a fight though it may be, I still think it's, since it's probably the only time we're gonna see Manfred. Thorgrim is only down here to kill Manfred. The other territories can fall. He's gonna move to the Black Pyramid where he will end his campaign. Like so. And go for Manny.
Battle!
Alrighty, decisive victory, low casualties. It's not much of an army, but, well, nonetheless, I still think it is worth the fight to bid Manfred farewell. Go. Alrighty, vengeance indeed, Thorgrim, vengeance indeed. He's gonna book it towards the enemy as he always does, slowed though by the fact that he is winded, though I don't imagine that's going to matter all that much. Gotrek, Felix, and our Thane, Drain, Idrainson are awaiting together with Thorgrim's Thundercloud and our big old blob of hammerers, all buffing each other up with all of those auras. 101 melee attack, 108 melee defense, and the shielded ones are very shielded. 135 armor, 107 missile resistance, irrelevant against the vampires, but still insane. 25% physical resistance, and of course the Everguard are also unbreakable, which is why they make up the sort of leading portion of the formations. Plus, we've got the Sons of Drashgrunt and Kneecap Breakers, the Grudge Settler units, which have that Berserk trait. It does kind of annoyingly put them into Rampage, but it also ramps up their stats by a fairly big margin. When it's maxed out, that physical resistance bumps up to 45%, nearly on a level of something like the Savage Orcs, but with 135 armor and 87 melee defense. Lovely. Anyway, we're going to rush Thorgrim, or at least attempt to rush Thorgrim towards Manfred so that he tries to land, but it looks like he'd rather go after our aerial units, which are currently busy knocking enemy Vargeists out of the sky. Pretty effectively, I might add, as the Vargeists get obliterated. And we back away from Manfred. Mostly I just didn't want to kill him. I would have preferred him to fight Thorgrim, who is still milling around in front of the army. Oh well, if Manny doesn't want to play, we'll have him play with the White King. Kevin von Lloydstein, who hits Thorgrim a couple of times and backs off rather than fight him again, trying to charge towards our main line instead, while mobbing Thorgrim with piles of trash mobs. Actually, a pretty good use of trash mobs. Generally speaking, if you can mob a single high resource unit that isn't able to contribute elsewhere in the battle with just chaff, it's often a pretty good move. Anyway, looks like Manfred does want to play. He was just too afraid to fight Thorgrim directly. Looks like some of the Vargeists are going to go after Thorgrim's Thundercloud, which continues floating overhead and damaging them. Manfred will summon zombies in the center of our hammerer line before landing back and down on the ground below, but unfortunately for him, Thorgrim has arrived here as well. He is everywhere you wanna be. And, well, okay, maybe you don't want to be in this, but anyway. He's gonna rush through his line and get at Manfred, whacking away at him. And again, dropping right into the middle of the hammer formation. Really doesn't seem like an action Manfred is likely to take. He's a bit too cowardly for that. Oh, I like how Thorgrim is making a little mid-battle speech. Oh, I love how every hammer blow sends knights and the zombies all flying. Thorgrim looking pretty good here. There we go, and tearing them to shreds. Thorgrim's Thundercloud still dropping various kinds of hits on the enemy. 371 kills, firing in every direction. And again, I'm one of the reasons why I love using these things as command units. We have a nice circle of hammerers that are all protecting each other, holding back the tide while the Thundercloud lands cannon fire and blunderbuss fire, or grudge raker fire into the enemy. Absolutely beautiful. And of course the enemy fails to do anything here. Hardly surprising, I should say, considering that it's Thorgrim's army and it's only a single army under Manfred. But I think it's only appropriate that we deal with Manfred personally and with, extreme prejudice every time we encounter him. We owe it to the setting itself. A lovely, lovely fight. All right, there we go. Certainly not a difficult fight, but it was a pretty fun one. I love seeing the undead attempt to overwhelm the circle of hammerers, the High King's bodyguards standing short against the tide of zombies. I'm being grudged. Anyway, the Manny goes down. It's always nice to take him down personally, just, you know, because reasons. It's Manny, if anybody deserves it, out of everybody. There we go. And we're pretty good. We're gonna heal up, I guess, and I guess chase down Mr. White King here. Lovely. Alright, and we don't... Well, actually, the weapon strength when fighting vampire counts... Well, no, I wish it was fun fighting undead. It would be better because then when we attack the Black Pyramid of Nagash, we would be... we would have that, but whatever. All good. Not that I think it will matter in any way. Anyway, I think we'll hit the Ash Crossing because there's nowhere else to go anyway, and it's not well defended enough for us to care about. Odd result, medium casualties to this. Did you not just see what happened to Manfred? A few bonks and his entire army fell apart, like so much bony kindling. Occupy. Alright, there we go, and this will obviously be traded, but at the same time we can just build up some stuff here for our friends. Ranger Standard, Sword of Bloodshed, Guildmaster, Stonemason, Standard of Discipline, good. And Manny is down to 6 settlements. And with Sauron, there's another little Necroc Brotherhood are running around here. They've got 0 settlements. Oh, they've been destroyed by the Guardians of the Valley. Well, it looks like the Guardians of the Valley have been doing a good job, well, guarding the place. I was going to destroy them because they were allied with these guys, but maybe we shouldn't. I mean, they do hold some mountains here in the Brittle Peaks, but that's not a settlement that we care about nearly as much as this stuff, and who knows. I wonder where their capital is. I wonder if it's in the Charnel Valley or whether it's in the mountains somewhere. I will think about it. I do think that they've done a good job, so... Alrighty, Dunbar Ranulfson, you're fine. Alright, I think now we're at a point where... Alright, you know what? Keep staying there. Just keep staying there. Belagar. Wait, you could actually take the Canal of Abundance if you wanted to. I feel like, since there's no... I mean, we could move you to Sphinx of Fa here, though admittedly one of these guys would probably go over there as well. But at least this way, yeah, you know what, we'll do that. Just because that way the... that way Thorgrim's army won't have to move over there, although he's right beside it as well. I'll think about it. It's probably going to take a few turns before we need to fight at the... Oh, Arcan himself. Maybe we should send Thorgrim to put him into the ground as well. Not part of our great grudges, perhaps, but I don't see a reason not to. Anyway, Grimrindle. Fort Dervingard, I guess, is a little bit better defended. Oh, although Reclaimer Grimson can reach it, although... This is kind of a waste of movement range from you. Almost tempted to send you this way instead. Just because you can travel a lot further. Go this way. See what's out there. Tribe Slaughter. That's okay. And Amador Deepbrow, you're... Oh, actually, you're supposed to be where you are. I have my reasons. No one needs to know them. Coast Guard Asgal doesn't need to move because he's a Coast Guard, right? Yeah, you're this one. Okay, I got Malachar. Since our Cathian friends are having such a difficult time with the plains of Zenbaijin, you're going to start moving this way. Dwinbar Ranulfson, you might fight. Woodguard doesn't need to move. King Azrael. Honestly, everybody at this point is kind of too far. However, we'll send you into Karak Uzkul, or whatever it was. Because you and... Maybe... Wait, where's the Proudbeard? I have an idea. You guys go this way. There is no underway network here, but there is one up here. And we could send you closer to the woods. To Athaloran. This way we won't have to get more wood guards up there. And I can just stop recruiting because it's an endless pile of recruiting. Kazran Grimbrow. Oh, right, I forgot to move you guys. You... I guess we could move you to Scabreach. Or is it Scabreach? I assume it's Scabreach. Yeah, you can go right here. And you can go up there now. We'll leave Brock Ironpig to fight that as soon as we end the turn. Warvor, I guess we'll have you move to Verin, or whatever. I guess we're out of Bretonnia, but You're not close enough to reach Muros, so go there.
For the wisdom of
Although I do wonder whether your army is going to get damaged by the auto-resolve again. It's got a habit of doing so. Now we're okay, auto-resolve. No, cannon's dead. Shocked. I'm shocked. Alright, there we go. And let us dwarf keep it up. Although we could upgrade... whatever. Not important. And then Ferry Hurgar Iron, well, you could just sort of stay here because of reasons. And just to double check, wait, stop moving. Yeah, okay. Just want to double check that he can't actually reach this place. What do we have here? Is this a field battle or is it a minor settlement battle? Minor settlement battle. I really don't want to lose a high tier cannon. We could just wait the turn. You know what? I'm pretty sure they're not going to attack. You're not really going anywhere, and it's not like we're in a hurry either. We'll just leave you there. Either they attack and die, or there's another army at Reyes, and in that case, we actually have a proper fight, rather than the minor fight. It's not like we haven't seen Bernath Barak obliterate a bunch of armies over the last couple of episodes, you know? Anyway, Woodguard doesn't need to move, Jargar doesn't need to move, Mornguard doesn't need to move. That's why I renamed all those guys like that. Woodguard, Reclaimer, Eric Grundadrek. Oh, you actually, for now, don't need to move, unless we send you to fight the Orcs, though it's, it might not be necessary anymore. Scaff, yeah, I guess you can start moving this way. I do wish that the list hadn't reset, but at least we know who was next. Actually, do we? I shouldn't have said that because now I lost my place.
time for a reckoning.
There we go. Okay, wow, that took way longer than I was expecting. Bernath Barak. Yeah, oh yeah, okay. Mornguard doesn't need to move, and Jargar doesn't need to move, Jargar doesn't need to move, Jargar doesn't need to move, go figure. Reclaimer Stout Peak, you are just a regular Reclaimer, and yes, I remember you. You are going to get this Runesmith. You already have your Thane, and what you're lacking is 2 engineers. Yeah, we'll get one of these guys, but we'll probably get them from down here somewhere. Let's go for V5. Like here. I wanted to try this army against the Wood Elves, because this entire army has Stalk and Snipe. It doesn't have Unspottable, unfortunately, but I don't think there's any way to get it. And then we also have this Grudge Settler Flame Cannon, which will have the Rune of Disguise. Stalk, Snipe, and Missile Resistance together with the rest of the army, and then we'll give items to all of the heroes that will also give them Stalk and Snipe, and we'll see how the Wood Elves handle that. Well or not well. Depends. Anyway, Reclaimer Stat Pick, you go. Oh, I guess... you know, just so I don't forget... Well, just keep the Reclaimer moniker for now. At this point, it's kind of like earning your name, earning your stripes, whatever. You need to actually achieve something to not just be a regular Reclaimer or a guard. And... who was Reclaimer? Redbeard again? You are... I think you're good where you are. You know what? Status collect. I was hoping to use you, but frankly, you're not that different from other armies that we have here. You can be another Jarguard. Mostly because he's in former Chaos Dwarfen territory, even if it's all snowy around and it doesn't seem like a Jarguard type of thing. But anyway, let's see if there is anybody else, or are we good to... Okay, why is the follower not moved? Which follower are you? Oh, right, you're this one, that's fine. Woodguard, follower, Reclaimer. This is another follower that probably doesn't need to move. Oh, right, you're a Dechaosifier. You're no longer needed. Bye. Lovely, and then we can trade Elftown on these places once they get a little bit up there. Alright. Keep on the Dechaosification. Oh, there is one other thing I wanted to see. Bait, what are you looking to do? Oh, right, you just sit there. You could be a Coast Guard. Coast Guard Bait. There we go. And you know what? You can actually get some units just because. It doesn't really matter what units, just so that you can guard the place properly. In case somebody comes on by, like, who's here? Who was there? Where are you going? And there's clearly an army out there. Oh, I wonder who's occupying this. Castillo de Estragon. They might come down here. It could be the Ogres. Could be Count Noctilus. It's probably somebody we're at war with, since this is a new faction that we forced to declare war upon everybody. Meaning, yeah, that has to be somebody. You stay here. I might get you another army, but I don't think it's needed. Or just turn you into a wood guard, or just delete you. Whatever, all good. Anyway, you are good. Elmador Damon... You're kind of in the same position where we could use you as a wood guard or could not, depending. For now, wait, can you build any artillery here? No. Go here. Oh, you know what we could do? Just give you a gigantic pile of Slayer pirates. Or we could give you some more other Slayers. Yeah, you know what? Maybe the enemy has some cavalry. Who knows? Let's do that. And we'll give you an engineer or a runesmith or something. All right, stay here. Now, is this thing broken? Cannot be removed manually. Building will be demolished upon ending the turn, but the turn has ended, or else this guy would not have had movement range. All right, we'll give him one more attempt. It would be really weird if this is broken because it's plus 30 Skaven corruption and quite annoying. Not that the rebellion will happen because we have a massive amount of public order bonuses, but it still feels a little bit weird. But anyway, I guess we're gonna fight this. They're not gonna sally out. Another army is probably not coming along, and frankly, it should be a fairly difficult fight for this army, which isn't really great at siege battles. We could wait for the towers, but for whatever reason, this army doesn't build them very quickly, so I guess we're just going to just assault the walls and straight up fight them. Go. Alright, here we go. I was really hoping to fight this one on the battlefield rather than as a siege battle, but I suppose if the enemy is occupying a Karak, it is only appropriate that we take it back. A bit of a shame to knock down those dwarfen towers, but I guess we can rebuild them better. Especially considering the new riches of the Karaz Ankor, making the former Karaz Ankor perhaps pale in comparison, as in pre-War of the Beard. Alright, well, either way, we're going to start the battle out by knocking down the enemy towers and annoying the enemy a teensy bit with our flyers. The critical thing here to knock out those enemy Screaming Skull catapults, which are most definitely a big threat to our rangers. Now, of course, the rangers will approach the enemy settlement while in stock. And it's not like we have to worry about those Screaming Skulls anymore, as they have been knocked out. Now, there we are. Now we can start to get to work on the enemy as their threats, namely the Ushabti with Great Bow. The big boys, the Hyro Titan, the Necro Sphinx, we can bring down with Rangers or throwing axe fire in general. Pretty darn well. Anyway, the enemy gate has been brought down, 2 of their towers have fallen, and the fort wall is about to collapse as well as we move our manual goblin here, or just our Rangers with throwing axes, Rangers with great weapons in, and the Goblin Hewers as well, and start getting ready to move into the enemy settlement. Alright, and here we are. The first of the axes will fly. They attempt to hit the enemy lord, and it looks like our Dragon Slayer will be the first through the breach, which, you know, absolutely expected. Starts facing up against a Tomb Scorpion, who the Dragon Slayer absolutely tears to shreds, taking about 50% of his HP with a few blows. And the Scorpion will attempt to block off the gate, but the hits from the Dragon Slayer are too hefty. There we go. 1,000 weapon strength, 74 melee attack. And, again, because I find it funny, 142 melee defense. Always got to give the Slayers the maximum amount of armor and defense. Alrighty, and ooh, well, you can't complain about the aesthetics of a Necro Serpent, or a Necro Sphinx rather. Damn, they look fantastic, even as they cut down at least some of the Rangers, but not all that many. Perhaps more crushed by its bulk as it topples, having been torn apart by all of our lords and heroes, focusing it down at the same time. Some Ushabti with Great Bow have shown themselves foolishly to where the throwing axes can hit them, and another unit of throwing axe throwers have made their way down and hack another unit of Ushabti apart with their great weapons before turning their axes to chuck them at the other unit of Ushabti down here. I'm willing to bet that with the buffs we have, a single unit of axe throwers can significantly outdamage an Ushabti with Great Bow. In fact, Ushabti with Great Bow have 107 missile strength with 12 units. We have 146 weapon strength with 80. Pretty darn big difference there, but, well, obviously they have way more range than us, which at least partially explains the difference, but obviously this is a garrison, and we have a lot of buffs in this army. We really made this army work over the course of the campaign, and it is one of the many very fun compositions. Alright, well, this is also a nice, rare thing that we see from this army. It's actually getting a lot of melee work out of our Rangers with Great Weapons. They're called Rangers with Great Weapons, not throwing axes after all. And it's good that they get to hew down a few of those Necro Serpents and Tomb Guard and Ushabti with melee weapons rather than relying fully on their throwing weapons. The Dragon Slayer is also being an absolute star. He obliterated that Tomb Scorpion and is now, and probably severely damaged, that Necro Sphinx, and is now taking out one or two of the enemy Necropolis Knights with every axe blow. Looks like the Necropolis Knights are out. A few Tomb Guard are still in the fight. And we have taken some damage to at least some of the units of Rangers, but are still looking pretty darn good. Kazook indeed, friends. Kazook indeed. Alright, tactically though, not much to say about this. Again, it is a siege battle rather than a field battle, and we're going in through a single breach, so effectively it's a very simple fight from a tactical perspective. A little bit of damage on the Ulthar's Raiders, gotta be careful with them. Gonna pop a debuffing flash bomb on the enemy. We don't really need to slow them down, but their force speed is still funny. It's the debuff that we wanted to their melee defense so that we could axe our way through them a little extra bit faster. And it's not like we have bad melee stats. We can see the Ulthar's Raiders here, 63 melee attack, 67 melee defense, and of course that crippled application lowering the enemy's melee defense as well. Alright, and there we go. The enemies around the breach have been cleared, though the enemy is keeping a fair few units all the way back here. 3 units of Ushabti with Great Bow, which really could have helped in the defense, and its Bone Giant, which is very slowly getting away as it tries to make its way up the hill while the Ushabti and Tomb Guard topple to our artillery fire in the background. Interesting to see that the Grudge Throwers are capable of knocking out the Ushabti with Great Bow, granted with a fairly decent amount of fire, but nonetheless, good job to them. Anyway, I'm going to speed this up. Not much to the enemy now. Just got to... okay, you're about to die. That poor unit of the Hekarn Horsemen, there's the Axe Storm, and with it about half the unit is destroyed. There's the second volley. And the Tomb Guard, or the Tomb Kings, or those Tomb Kings, return to the sands. Ushabti with Great Bow gonna move in and perhaps try to get a few volleys up as we start moving close to them. Let's speed this up a little bit. And there we go. They have started firing on Dwinbar Ranulfson himself. How much damage they would be able to do to him easily, I'm not entirely sure. 158 armor, 37 missile resistance, and 26% ward save. Oh, and it looks like the Bone Giant has actually joined the fray at last. There's the Ushabti. Nice hit from that Bone Giant. And I do really love Bone Giants in SFO. I find them kind of meh in vanilla, but in SFO they're really nice. One of my favorite armies in the Manfred campaign, the last Vampire Counts campaign I did, had 4 Bone Giants. I really enjoyed them. In that army especially. Anyway. Dwinbar Ranulfson may be back because he's a ranged hero, but our Giant Slayer, Demon Slayer, and our, you know you're a Giant Slayer, but whatever, and our Thane close the distance. Thane moves in to distract the Bone Giant, taunting it perhaps. And it looks like the axes have arrived at last, and soon as they do, those Ushabti topple pretty much instantly. Only the Bone Giant remains, and I'd wager it's not going to be able to take... Oh, look at that thing. You can't even see the bone giant because it's just covered in so much dust from the axes smashing into the stone. I mean, in reality, it's I think it's the flash bomb. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just generally the axis hitting it. But yeah, it topples pretty much instantly with a single volley from not even all of our units. But fantastic. With that, the enemy army is done. There's still a Tomb Scorpion and another Ushabti with Great Bow running around out there. But we just have to close in terms of proximity. And they will melt away. Like so. And like. Alright, somebody close the distance, please. Come on now. Alright, well, trust me when I say that the distance will be closed and then they'll melt away. Alright, there we go. No problem at all. I do wish that the AI wasn't such a coward about it, especially with the Bone Giant and stuff. And the weird thing about this is that this army is super short range. They barely have any artillery, so why the AI kept trying to run away and back off instead of actually fighting is just down to that particular weird behavior that they programmed into it. Anyway, Thirsty Axes with 51 kills and 13,000 damage. And obviously our numbers won't be as inflated as they would be against the rats. But well, with all those constructs, especially single entity, single entity, single entity, single entity, single entity, and then 12 entities, and then I think there was a regular Ushabti, probably a summon. But anyway, we've also had the most damage on the rat catchers here, who admittedly took some damage from the Necropolis Knights, but I fear a lot of those losses were actually from friendly fire, because I don't think there's 76 there. And admittedly, this army is fairly dangerous to itself. It happens. Anyway, axe delivery system, and everybody else did well. Occupy. And there we go. Doom Mountain. This was part of one of our great grudges, and there was a good reason to have come down here. Delete this and immediately build up the rune stones of the upland plateau. It only takes one turn. Well, not lovely. It'll take 3 turns to build Hall of the Ancestors, but fortunately it's not going to take longer than that. We will build the gate here because it would be annoying to lose all this, and since this is the southern edge of our empire, it probably should be walled up, I would think. Just in case, even if everybody down here is our ally. And, yes, okay, wait, so we can see Brittle Peaks, and it's owned by Mahrak. The Guardians of the Valley seem to be sticking in Charnel Valley instead of the mountains. Oh, well, that's lovely. That's lovely indeed, meaning we don't have to wipe them out. They can guard the valley for us. We'll do this, we will do this, we will do the military alliance, and we will give them some money. I like it. This will also give us vision of what the heck is going on down here. And if we get some spare territory, we can give it to them. And maybe have them declare war on a bunch of our enemies and keep fighting the undead. Yes, everything's going nicely. I didn't see this army out here. They're probably going to reclaim Sejet Temple, meaning we'll push Thorgrim back towards it, and then maybe towards Arcan and these places in Belagar out here. I guess that's the better way to do it. Now, anything else that we need to do? You're moving to Ashmere. You are okay. I just did ya, and everybody's in position or getting themselves into position. I no longer remember whether we were fully down the list or not. Elmador, Deepbrow. Okay, no, you guys are staying there. I think we're good, or at the very least I'm too lazy to check again. I think there was one other place where we were besieging where I was like, we could fight, but we could give them a chance. Against the Skaven here, and I think we'll still do that. Does the building have to be done still? Oh, it's a new turn in the sense that the building has to be done. You know what? I'll call it here then. I'll call it here. I'll do the building, and then maybe I'll just end the turn between the episodes as well. And then do the building for next turn so that we can, get to it. I don't think anybody will get attacked. I really doubt that these guys are gonna, well, maybe I shouldn't risk it. I'll do the building for this turn at the very least. Anyway, stay tuned for a couple more dwarf episodes. We're reaching the edges of our lands here. We're reaching the edges of our lands in the southern World's Edge Mountains. We're at the World's Edge. We have reached the edge of our lands here, and in the Darklands, where the Chaos Dwarfs have been cleared out, we are nearly at the edges of our lands here. And, well, the lands that we're likely to own or are going to own, we have reached the edges of, so we're just about there. Just setting up a pile of wood guards around the around Athaloran, which is potentially the only hostile remaining place outside of the realms of chaos. And well, that's what we kept all of our allies for. They can endlessly send their foolish armies to fight the chaos gods. And we'll just build some nice stout dwarven bastions to hold back the tide should anything heavier come out of the Chaos Realms, as in anything more with better armies. Anyway, more Dabby to come, couple more episodes remaining. All glory to the algorithm. Likes and comments below for the very long campaign. And thanks for watching.